Welcome back. Today I'm going to cover my top 3 tips for the Expert RAW app for Samsung smartphones. The last tip is especially important and a common mistake people make when editing the RAW files. The results are simply stunning when you get it right, like this image, which I recently took. Just look at the colors and the overall clarity here. You can almost see every single brick on this building. It honestly feels like an image taken from a much larger camera. Which brings me to tip number 1, to use the app in full auto. Many people are intimidated by Expert RAW because they feel like they need to use the manual controls. Yes, if you tweak the settings, you can get some cool effects like light trails with long exposures, but that's not required. The app has come a long way in the past year with updates and can take some amazing results even in full auto. Let's take another look at this image and compare it to one I took with Pro mode in the regular camera app. As we can clearly see, they both look good, but there are some obvious differences. The Expert RAW image is clear across the frame and represents the colors more accurately. Notice how the sky is actually blue with Expert RAW. Now look at these trees in the back. Even in this darkness, we can clearly see the branches, while the Pro mode image is mushy. It blows my mind that this level of quality is coming from a smartphone. Keep in mind that both of these images were taken handheld. This takes me to tip number 2, which is to use the app whenever you want RAW files to edit later. Expert RAW is particularly powerful in tough lighting conditions, like this where we have bright lights competing with the darkness of the night. In this image, the standard RAW file from Pro mode did fairly well with the bright areas, but falls apart in the rest. The camera is struggling to extract those details. When looking at the Expert RAW file, we yet again see clear details throughout the image. Notice how much better even the grass looks. Alright, now let's cover a common mistake people make when editing these RAW files. Many people will complain that the color of these files from Expert RAW is a bit off, and it's not very natural. Let's take another look at this image without any edits. If you look closely, you'll notice there's a bit too much green across the frame. And this is the exact same thing you would see if you looked at this image on your phone, which in this case was the S21 Ultra. Now after the fix and some quick edits, you can see how much better this looks. The key here is the color profile being used. If we look at this image in Lightroom, we'll see that it defaulted to the Samsung profile, which is what is giving us that green look. If we switch it to one of the standard Adobe profiles, you'll immediately see the colors look much better. Now some other edits that I would do here are boost the shadows a bit, turn down the contrast, and just add a punch to the colors. I would stay away from any of these sharpening or clarity effects since these files are already blistering sharp. Another cool thing to note here is that I have crazy dynamic range. When we look at this light here, I can bring the highlights down to the point that we can actually see the light bulb, which is amazing. Are you using Expert RAW? If so, what do you think? Is it what you expected, or do you feel like it's missing something? Let me know in the comments below. For those of you that are new to the app, I have a recent video where I give a quick overview of the different controls and how to use it, which I'll link here. I recently picked up an iPhone 14 Pro Max, which finally has a 48 megapixel sensor. And I have an interesting comparison coming against Samsung's 100 megapixels. The results are actually quite surprising, even compared to some other videos that are out there. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.